This is Living Life Behind Bars. Well, it's your boy Tiny. Today we're doing something a little different. You can see I'm not on a motorcycle. This video came requested about 4, maybe 6 videos ago. Someone asked me, I mentioned this in another video, but I know all y'all don't watch all my videos, so this video, someone made a comment and they said, would love to hear, I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember for verbatim, but they said, I'd love to hear your thoughts on friendship. And I can't remember if I texted them or I just replied to her comment, and I said something to the effect of, you may not want to, or you may be surprised, or something along those lines. So today we're going to talk about it. We're going to crack a cold one. Monster, that is. Monster, if y'all watching, I do take royalties or subscriptions or whatever you want to call it. So let's get in it. So I got my notes because I've been thinking about this for like a month now, and I've been going back and forth what not to say, what needs to be said. For those of you that know me in real life, you know that I'm pretty just straightforward. Which I think most people like, but a lot of times with me, it's straightforward. It either comes across as sarcastic or it comes across with I don't want to say hate, but not in a way of love, not in like a building up way, like the Bible talks about. Sometimes I probably do mean it that way. Most of the time I don't. I just know in my mind what I'm thinking, and I don't mean for it to be hateful, but again, the way I come across sometimes, it just comes across that way. So I kind of went back and forth. In my notes, I've crossed some stuff off that I was going to say, and then I figured probably better not say it. I've edited some stuff. Just kind of went down and made some tick marks. This video will be longer than most of my other ones, other than some of the rides, because you know they're 30 40 minutes, but like when I'm just talking, because there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to hit on. So if you don't want to stick around for the whole video, I totally get it. If you get bored, click off. That's absolutely fine. But I think, like forgiveness, this is more for me to get it out than for y'all to hear it. So having said that, when I was making my notes, I had people, life experiences in my mind, not to berate them or anything like that, but it was just stuff that happened that made me think one way or the other. So yes, because that's all I know how to come from, a way of what's actually happened to me. But again, I'm not going to mention names. and I'm not trying to put anyone down. I'm just simply sharing life experiences. So that was a long intro, but I just kind of wanted to get all that out. Um, so when I started to think through this and write down stuff, the first thing I put was definition of friend, uh, because of course that was a good starting point in my mind. If I'm going to talk about friends, okay, then I had to define friend. And there's a couple things that I came to in my mind. You may think the same, you may think totally opposite, and that's fine. But I came to the realization in my mind that number one, um, the definition of friend, you can look it up, of course, but to me, it's a relative term. Um, I kind of compare it to the word love. Uh, in English, we have the word love, all right? And so we will love everything from pizza to um, a sport, a sports team, um, mother, father, all the way to spouse. We only have one word. Um, and so I think that that's kind of how friend is to me. We just have one word um, that we use that may cover a wide range of people we know. Um, I kind of thought about it, and to me, uh, I just wrote down some types of friends. Again, that using friends in a an umbrella, right? Because most of us probably consider some of our coworkers our friends, and possibly could be, but I think some of my coworkers, and I think the only thing that they know about me is what they see here at work. They don't know me at all, really. So, to me, that's not what I would consider a friend. Um, and again, no shade on anyone. If any of my coworkers actually watch this, no shade on anyone. But in a normal setting of work, you really don't get personal. I mean, you might, depending on you know what your job is, um, and to a certain extent, you know things about people, but a lot of times I would consider that more of an acquaintance than a friend, right? Again, not saying bad, not saying anything wrong, but just how my mind works. All right. So same thing. Um, so just some types of friends, coworkers. All right. Um, School. Um, Again, same with school. You go to school, you see people in the hallways. Um, do you really know anything about them? Um, of course, you may. I've got a friend that I've known since 1986, freshman year of high school. We had the two-person science desks, I guess you would call them, and his name was a couple letters off from my name, so we were science table mates. From there, we hit it off. We were pretty much inseparable. Um, all through high school. We played hacky sack out on the back porch together on the weekends. We went to some of the clubs. We went to the arcades. We went to play basketball. We went to the donut shop. Um, and we're still talking today. Now, when I say talking, it's, texting or messaging or whatever. Um, we did meet out in Las Vegas one year. I don't know how many years ago that's been, but we did meet out in Las Vegas. Um, and so, again, you've got those types of friends. Some that you hang on to, and some that you just see them in the hallway. That's it. Um, my personal experience since I went to Bible college, unless you were in class with the person, they didn't really know your name. It wasn't a big Bible college, but it was big enough where you probably weren't going to know everyone by name. So everyone was just brother. Hey, brother. Um, that's just how, or sister, of course. It's just how it went. All right. Um, Nowadays, uh, everyone, doesn't matter your gender or age or whatever. Now that's what everyone now is, bruh or bro. All right. Talk to a girl, call her a bro. It's all good. All right. If you're if you have anyone that's in that age group, or you're around people, that that's just the slang for nowadays. Um, I've heard of people calling their parents bro or bruh. I've seen a lot of TikTok videos of that. That's a whole different story. If you want, and you're a parent, comment down below what you would do if your son or daughter called you bro or bruh. Um, so, kind of from one scenario to the next. So I was in Bible college. Now, people you might have hang out with, if you frequent certain bars or certain clubs or whatever, um, you may see the same faces, and there may be a point where you consider them a friend. You see them, whatever. Hopefully, not too many nights a week at a club or a bar, but you see the same faces and you get to know people, and you may consider them a friend. So, what I'm getting at is, to me, the definition itself is a relative term because you've got all these people, and I would think that someone who you see in a bar once or twice a week and someone that you've known since 1986 aren't going to shouldn't hold the same title in your life. All right. So, again, to me, it's a relative term. All right. Um, I've got some other stuff, but I kind of hit the highlights of that. All right. So we kind of defined, um, or I've given you my opinion anyway, on what a friend is. All right. So, what does a friend look like? What does friendship look like? Um, Again, there's the whole gamut of what friendships could look like, depending on who you consider friends, where those friends, uh, where those friends from. You can see where, that's going to determine what friendship looks like. Um, but some things that I wrote down. Um, I say in a friendship, I just wrote down a couple things, but there's 1,000 more. Um, but the number one thing to me, um, in order to be a friend, a true friend, that ride or die friend, for those of you that have never heard that term, um, look it up. Google's your friend. But, there's going to be sacrifice um, of some sort. Uh, the only way that you're going to become the friend that I would say that you would want as a friend, you're going to have to sacrifice some stuff. And just some of the things I put down here. Number one, of course, time. Think of a marriage, which a lot of people say, and I'm in this, in those numbers, I say that I married my best friend. All right. So take a marriage that you never spend time with your spouse. You see where that's going to go. All right. So I kind of see it the same thing as with a friendship. In order to develop a friendship, um, you're going to have to sacrifice time. We've all got the same 24 hours. We all have to sleep. So that knocks off, whatever, 6 to 10 hours. Um, most of us that are watching this, I probably have some retired friends, but most of us that are watching this have to work. So then you can knock off another 8 to 12 hour of that 24 hours. So if you work 8 hours a day and you sleep 8 hours a day, if my math is correct, you've only got 8 hours for everything else other than sleep and work. All right. So then you've got to prioritize. All right, what am I going to spend these 8 hours on? I got to get a drink. And then once you prioritize that, that's where you spend those other 8 hours. All right. So that's the sacrifice of time. You only got 1/3 of your day left, and if you want to devote any of that time to friendships, then that's a priority. So sacrifice of time. Number two, sacrifice of money. Um, Stuff happens. Life happens. Um, you may have a friend that, whatever, got laid off, got sick and couldn't work, car broke down. Most people I think I've read are like two. I could be wrong. If you've heard this um, statistic, comment down and let me know. But I think I've read that a high percentage of Americans today are like two paychecks from bankruptcy. All right. Um, so, I mean, just one thing happens. As expensive as stuff is nowadays, one thing happens, and, there goes your savings, and now, I'm broke. Um, so, friend comes to you, hey, whatever, like I said, whatever happens, car broke down, motorcycle broke down, um, lost my job, need to borrow some money. Again, we've only got so much money income. Some of us more than others, but we've all only got whatever we get each month. And so if we're going to take any out of our budget, hopefully everyone out there budgets. If not, Look up Dave Ramsey. He'll talk to you about it. Um, but hopefully it comes out of your budget. And so we have to figure, okay, am I going to take this out of my budget to help a friend out? Again, I think it's going to depend on who that friend is. And I'll say it. What's that friend done for you? I mean, I hate to be that way, but I'm just being honest. You know, if someone's let you borrow some money, and that's a whole other thing. You shouldn't let people borrow money if you can't afford to give it to them. That's a whole nother different Dave Ramsey talk. But anyway, um, and so you got to figure out: am I going to sacrifice this bit of my money uh, to help a friend out? Again, that's something you're going to have to figure out. And the third thing, because people that are closest to us hurt us the worst, are you willing to sacrifice that heartache? Because it's coming. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate to be call me pessimistic. I call myself realistic. Um, People are going to hurt you. They're going to let you down, whether it be on purpose, whether it be they've convinced themselves that what they're doing is best, and a whole myriad of other reasons. You're going to get hurt, and your friends, hopefully not on purpose, but because of your close relationship, your friends and family, hurts the worst, right? So again, you have to figure out: am I going to sacrifice my time, my money, and my heartache? Am I going to invest it in this friendship? For you to answer, not me. I'm just working through things in my mind. Um, you may have a friend that has some sort of addiction, I guess is, but it doesn't have to be an addiction, but some sort of thing in their life that is leading them down the wrong path. Um, you may have to be the one to cause that heartache and say, look, we've been friends all this time. I see you going down this road. Um, I'm just trying to keep you from going down that road. Um, and chances are, if it's something that they really enjoy doing, which probably is since they're continuing to do it, they're not going to want to hear what you have to say. Um, Whether you come across from a place of love or not, they're probably not going to hear the love. They're probably just going to accuse you of being judgmental, accuse you of not knowing what they're going through. Fill in the blank here, you know what I'm saying? So it gets to a point where you may have to distance yourself from that person. I'm not saying kick them out of your life and forget about them, but you may have to distance yourself so that you're not enabling them to continue down whatever path that is. Um, I'm sure there's been quite a few. Now, this is not a personal story, but I'm sure there's been quite a few people that ended up being arrested and put in jail because they were just helping a friend out. Again, whether they knew it or not, um, you know, they might have. course, this is a wild story, but hey, can you take me to the convenience store? My car's broke. Next thing you know, you're the aiding and abetting because you're the getaway driver. You see what I'm saying? Like I say, over the top story, but it make you see what I'm saying. So sometime we have to, again, not kick them out of our lives and forget them, but we have to distance ourselves from a situation that is going to get us in trouble or hurt or killed. Um, it's hard to do because you might have spent that time, that money, and that heartache on this person for years and years. So, might be hard to give them a tough love and say, "See where this is taking you." Um, and I'm just, from a loving standpoint, I'm trying to tell you where you're headed. Um, sometimes you got to. Sometimes you just got to do it. Um, so again, I've kind of rambled. I've kind of tried to stick by my little ticks. Um, I've not put some of them in. I've changed some of them. Um, and I have no idea because this GoPro doesn't have a screen on the front, so I don't know where we are time wise. But I'm pretty close to 15 or 20 minutes, probably, if not over. But so I just wanted to kind of wrap it up. Um, comment, let me know what you think. Do you have that ride or die friend that would do anything for you? That's always been there for you, that would give up that time, that money, and that heartache. Um, Drop me a comment. Let me know. Um, what? How do you define friend or friendship? Drop me a comment. Let me know. To you, what does friendship look like? Drop me a comment. Let me know. This kind of all came to a head last night. I go to bed at, I can't just go right to sleep, so I usually go to bed. My body works best if I get about 8 hours of sleep. So I try to be in bed at about 8:30 because it usually takes me 30 to an hour to go to sleep. And then I'm usually up at 5 to 5:30 in the morning because I have to be at work at 7. So that works best for me. So usually what I'll do is I'll go to bed. Shannon will stay up, and then my wife will stay up, and then she'll come to bed, and of course, showering and brushing teeth and all that. I'll wake up, and then we'll usually talk for a little while before we fall asleep. So last night we were talking, and like I said at the beginning of this video, I've been kind of going back and forth with all the ideas in my head about friendship, and then last night was kind of the boil over. So we were talking, and I came to the conclusion that at my age, 54, at this point in life, with everything that's going on in my life, for those of you that are friends in real life, you know what I'm talking about, everything that's going on. In another video, somewhere down the line, I'll get more into it, but now I'm just... So at my age, at this point in life, with everything going on, I came to the realization that I can't physically or mentally devote the time and effort that it takes to be a good friend. I realize that. Again, no shade to any of you out there. It's not you, it's me, and I realize that. So, kind of like to apologize for whatever that I may have done or not done to be the best friend that I could have been. There's been times that someone will pop into my head, and I'm old enough to finally realize that when someone for no apparent reason pops into my head, that's God's way of telling me you need to reach out to them. And so there have been times when a name or a face will pop into my head, and I tell God, I've texted them the last 4 or 5 times. I'm tired of either not getting a reply or getting a reply days later or getting the old 1-letter K reply. And that's not the way a friend should be. But again, I'm just telling you real life. All right. So, just want to apologize if I've not, if you've had a birthday or an anniversary or whatever, and you haven't heard from me. If you post it on Facebook, I never see any friends on Facebook. All I see is like ads, but I never see people that I know. So I never see friends, posts, birthday notification, none of that. So if it's just on Facebook, you're just going to have to forgive me. Algorithm doesn't like me. I never see any of that. But if I've forgotten your birthday, anniversary, if you've had someone pass and you didn't hear from me saying I'm sorry, is there anything I can do? I'm sorry. All right. God's still working on me, as Sonia will tell you, I'm sure, in the comments. Yeah, he's got a long way to go, but God's still working on me. And I try to, like I said, when I see a person pop into my head or a name pop into my head, I try to reach out. Because I've had people that I've talked to on Thursday and they were gone on Sunday. So I try to do that because I really believe that it's God, for some reason, putting that person in my head. So I try to reach out. So anyway, I want to cut this video off. There's a bunch more I could say, but I want to hear from y'all. Drop me a comment. Let me know whatever y'all's feelings, just opinions on anything that I've said. Drop me a comment. I know I say this all the time, and like I'll look down at my videos and I'll see like hardly anyone's commenting. And I'm, it's kind of disheartening. Like I'm making videos to, for people to get conversation started and, stuff like that. And, if I blow up and a bunch of money starts coming in, then yeah, I made videos for that too. But that's not the primary focus. But hey, everyone can use a little bit more money. So, I don't know what all this stuff flying around is. So, like I said, I could go on and on, but I'm going to end it here. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things that you do on social media. Be sure you comment. If there's anyone who you think might enjoy this video for some strange reason, be sure to share it with them. But comment. Just let me know. There's no right or wrong. It's your opinion. So that's it. Just let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for listening. Bye. God bless. Remember, until next ride, keep the rubber side down, be blessed, and peace.